Chatting again this week with SportsLine Wizard of Odds Kenny White. He's here to break down some weird betting angles and trends we're seeing for several AFC North matchups. 4 games to get to this week, Kenny. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready to go, Katie. This is be a fun weekend, the last weekend before Thanksgiving weekend. So, it really starts to get busy this time of year.
Absolutely. Football and basketball starting up soon, of course. Let's start with the Cincinnati Bengals at Washington this week. Both these teams have losing records. The Bengals are 2-6-1 in last place, Washington 2-7, but not sitting as many games back in their division. So can you really count on the money in this matchup when you have 2 losing teams?
Yeah, sometimes it is hard. A lot of people do like to say, you know what, I'm going to throw out the losing teams, throw out the best teams, and work with the teams in the middle. Those are some of the teams that are a little bit easier to predict. But I don't mind winning record, losing record, doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to try to match up power ratings. Right now, the Washington football team is plus $8 to win the East. In this game, they're a 1.5 favorite. I think Cincinnati actually has the better football team. They got a long shot to make the playoffs, obviously, because they're behind Pittsburgh and Baltimore. But I'll take Cincinnati here to pull a mild upset over Washington.
Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 really opposite teams. The Steelers are undefeated, and so this really could be sort of a look-ahead spot for this team since they're playing Baltimore next. What do you think about that?
You're right, Katie. Anytime you get these big favorites, they feel like they're going to win the game easily, and you don't get the great effort that you need to. Pittsburgh led up against Dallas just a couple weeks ago as a 14-point favorite. And with the Ravens on deck, that is the biggest game of the year for them. They're 9-0 right now. To finish 16-0, the yes price plus $7.50, the no price minus $12.
And Jacksonville, on the opposite end of the spectrum, is 1-8 right now. Starting quarterback Gardner Minshew is also out. So what are the odds that this team can give the Steelers their first loss?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew out, definitely a 1.5 drop off to Jake Luton. And I think if this was a normal year, Jacksonville could have a fairly decent shot of pulling the upset. They have a 29% chance. And that's what a minus 10-point favorite or minus 10-point underdog is telling you, 29%. But right now you can get plus 425 on Jacksonville. But do they really want to win, or do they want Trevor Lawrence? I think they could be tanking for Trevor Lawrence.
All right, 2 down, 2 to go on games. Let's talk now about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Browns. Philly now in first place in the worst division in the NFL with a 3-5-1 record. Well, can they beat the Browns and hold that position?
Yeah, right now they're a $1.60 favorite to win the East because they may be bad at 3-5-1, but they're still top in the division even after losing to the Giants last week. Can they beat the Browns? Yes, I think they can beat the Browns this week. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it'll be right down to the wire.
Cleveland is 6-3 right now, but outside of the playoffs. So what are the team's odds of making the playoffs this year, and can they cover against the Eagles this weekend?
Yeah, they're 9th right now in the playoff race for the NFL. And their NFL's taking 7 teams right now, but there always could be an adjustment they're talking about. They could add an extra playoff team. So they're right on the border of making the playoffs or not. Right now, the no is minus 130. The yes is plus even money if you like the Browns. Tough game. The Eagles, both teams need this game. The Browns are a 3.5-point favorite. I think it's going to be a very close game. I could see the Browns winning but not covering.
And finally, the Tennessee Titans meeting the Baltimore Ravens. Both of these teams are 6-3, so it really should be a pretty fun matchup. Well, which of these teams has the better chance of going further in the playoffs, and who do you like this weekend?
Yeah, what a great game. Would have been maybe a better game 3 or 4 weeks ago because Tennessee was 5-0 and Baltimore was 5-1. Both have gone through a little losing streak here. Right now to win the AFC, the Ravens plus 550. Interesting, they're plus 550 to win the division, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Tennessee is plus 15-1 to win the AFC. Plus $1.20 to win their division because they're up against the Colts. That's who they have to beat. If they beat the Colts, they win the division. That would give the Titans better odds. So I'm going to take the 15-1 on the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC.
All right, Kenny, thank you so much for breaking all this down for us. And you can read even more picks and analysis right now over on SportsLine. I'm Katie Johnston for CBS Local Sports.